Hey, I'm gonna do a quick update. It really sucks because I just had an amazing video I recorded and my phone died like right before I finished. And the screen capture, if your phone dies during a screen capture, it doesn't actually save the video. So this was my Ethereum trade. I got stopped out on that dump down and came back up, and I had a really tight stop loss. It was only 1.65% below my entry, so it was really low risk. The whole point of my trading strategy is that, I'm usually right, and when I'm wrong, I take a tiny, tiny loss that's insignificant. If you guys have been following me in my update videos, you've seen my model is incredible. I've been predicting virtually every trend reversal up and down for days. It's been a couple days, 2-3 days at this point, where every little move throughout the day on the hourly chart and the 4-hour chart especially, I've predicted big moves up and big moves down. I get out at the top, I get in at the bottom, and it's been going so well. In fact, I could actually show you exactly, give me 1 second and I'll show you. But just to finish my thought, the reason why I'm able to trade successfully is because you're obviously not going to be right all the time. Even when your model's really accurate, eventually that pattern is just not going to pan out, and it's going to have some times where it just falls apart and you're not able to predict what's going to happen. When that happens, it's really important that you guys, especially newer traders out there who follow me, it's really important you focus on your risk management strategies, because it's one thing to be able to say, I can predict what's going to happen next with pretty reasonable accuracy, because I'm really good at reading the charts and I can identify patterns, right? That only gets you so far, because what happens the 1 or the 2 or the 3 times, every 10 times that you're wrong, right? If you're wrong, you could potentially lose all your money, especially if you're trading with leverage and you're being irresponsible with your risk, not managing risk properly. So just to give you an idea, that's why I'll have a stop loss. I'll buy in right here at 27.40, place a stop loss at 26.95, and then when we do dump and it hits my stop loss, I only lose 1.6%. So if you made a $1,000 trade, that means you would lose $16, right? It's an insignificant amount of money, because if you are right, you'll make 200 or 300 or 400 or 500. You can make a massive profit. So it's obviously worth it to take that risk if you're controlling risk well. So I just wanted to mention that for newer traders out there. Risk management is really important. You need to learn how to do it. You need to have a stop loss on your trades. So to explain what I was getting at, I was really confident all day. I was expecting this bullish move, and it just wasn't materializing. So a couple update videos ago, I talked about how I'm still bullish, but I'm starting to see some signs that I might not be able to feel so bullish anymore. I'm starting to see some signs that maybe the model's starting to get a little loose and it's not as perfect as it was. For days, I was predicting every trend reversal because my model was so locked in. I can give you an example really quick. Let me show you. So look at 2 important things I want to show you. I'll be pretty quick. This is going to be a short one. Well, hold on a second. So just look here on the hourly, for instance. You see on Bitcoin how the Stoch all the way in the bottom, the way I use the stochastic oscillator with those settings at 533, the model I've come up with. If you look at the Stoch, you had the wave up and a wave down, wave up, wave down, right? Now look at the price action. I always show you this, right? My Stoch model is great. You get a move up and then a move down along with the Stoch. The Stoch bottoms out and reverses right here, get a big move up to the top, and then it comes down, we get a big move down. Now, when you have that sine curve, that up and down wave structure, it's a repetitive pattern. So if the wave goes up, down, up, down, up, down, the price action will go up, down, up, down, up, down, pretty much every single time. Every once in a while, you get into something like this, where it bottoms out and you expect it to go up, right? Because the last 6, 7, 8 times, you would have been right. But then, eventually, the model loosens up and it falls apart temporarily. It always recovers, but temporarily, we get down to the bottom and we start to turn up on the Stoch, and then it just starts moving sideways. You can see it started to turn up and then it failed and went down more. I can zoom in and show you even in more depth. Watch the cursor on the bottom. So right here, it started to turn up, failed, went down more. Then it broke out, and then it went back down. And then it started to break out again, and then it went down. So that keeps happening over and over again. So essentially, the model fell apart, and I can't really predict if we're going to get the bullish reversal. So I still think, I can't help it. I have this feeling that I can't shake, that I still think we're going to get it. And my fear was that because my model's not really dialed in right now, I can't come up with one of those precision entries where I buy in 1% below the bottom and I have a tight stop loss. I can't predict it with that level of precision right now. So My fear was I was going to wake up in the morning and get the bull run I've spent 24 hours expecting. For 24 hours, I've said, as soon as this correction stops, I'm expecting big greens across the market all day, really, really big green bullish day, and it never materialized today. So I'm kind of worried. I was going to go to bed early right now, and I was like, well, if I go to bed right now, and then I wake up and everything's green, I'm going to be really pissed that I stayed out of the market last night, because if I just got into some trades before I went to sleep, I'd be making a ton of money today, right? I don't want to miss out. So I started looking at the charts and I spotted this additional trend line. So we have 3 points of contact. It's a great valid trend. Let me show you what I'm thinking. So we have this bull flag, right? We had this breakout up. There's our flagpole. Now we have this channel coming down. So we have a bull flag, where if we invalidate the entire run up and get down to a new low, that would invalidate it. But now we have a trend line, which means we should know really soon. So check this out. We have a topside resistance here. This is the trend line resistance on the top of that bull flag, that yellow line on the top, and then the yellow line on the bottom is the trend line support. So you can see, the last video update I did, where I was recording one of my monitors, my displays, I already had this part on the chart. And you could see at the time we had just bounced off the bottom. And I was expecting at that point, all right, we're probably going to get rejected from the top. But if we do break above the top, that potentially could start the bull run. So we indeed got rejected pretty much right at the top of that trend line resistance. So then we started coming back down, and I'm thinking, all right, well, what's next? So then I looked at the chart, I zoomed out a little bit, and I identified this trend line support, where we have now a solid 3 points of contact, even more if we go back earlier. So this is definitely a valid trend line support. There's also a little bit of a head and shoulders formation on here, but it's not the type of head and shoulders that I would consider particularly credible, so I'm not that worried about it yet. I'm more curious about this trend line support. So the white line down here is actually a really good support. You can see this green candle down here wicked out. Let me zoom in more. This first green candle right here wicked out, came back and tested it, got back up, got rejected from the resistance at the top of the channel, and then we came back down and got really close to testing that again. We got just above where that white trend line is. So we're really close. The hourly Stoke is still looking pretty bullish, right? It's still turning up, although this is where my pattern comes into play. It turned up 2 times before, and then it failed, and we kept going lower. That's why it's such an important point right here. The way the Stoke looks, the way the RSI looks, with a nice reset on that oscillator as well, both of my key oscillators. We also have a strong trendline support that happens to coincide with the Ichima dynamics and some of the time frames, although not all of them. So what I'm thinking is, if we dip down and we hold at this white trend line, within the next 1 or 2 candles, we could potentially go up. So I was thinking maybe it's worth just doing an update video for you guys. I'm not going to do a live stream and a detailed video for an hour, because right now I can't really come up with any new trades or anything. And I'm even going to share this video publicly outside of the private group, because I'm not sharing any new trades or analysis, really. Well, I'm sharing an analysis, but I'm not getting into any new trades to share. So if this trendline support holds within the next 2 hours, we might finally get an answer. So this is pretty much it. This is probably my last ditch effort to get this bullish move that I've been hoping for. If this trendline support here fails, the white line, we might see newer lows immediate, right, over the next 24 to 48 hours. Not total lows. We're not going to get below the 30K. I'm still very, very confident that that was the bottom, and we're continuing back up into the 50s and potentially 60s and 70s. I'm still really confident about that 30K support. I don't think we're going to drop down and lose that. I'm just talking about short term. We could go down into the lower 30s again, potentially, and I think this trend line is really going to be the key, because right now the model hasn't given us the bullish reversal. If we do get a bounce off of this trendline support, and then we get above the top trendline resistance here. So, I mean, look at how many candles we have. We had 3 candles to start up here at the top of that bull flag, 2 more together right here, another one right here, and then these 2 right here. So we're really coming up against a strong resistance. That top trend line, that yellow line at the top of that bull flag structure, is a really strong trend line resistance. If we can break above that, we're very, very likely to get the bull run, to get that 24-hour breakout that I was expecting. And if we fall below the white line, that trend line support, there's a really good chance we head down into the mid to lower 30s. That's why I think it's probably worth it just to watch for another hour or two. Maybe it makes a move on the next couple candles. Then I'll have a chance to get in, because if we start breaking up and we get above that trend line resistance on the top of the flag, I'll get into some trades, set my stop loss, and go to sleep with a high level of confidence. I'm going to wake up to profits, because the only way at that point, it ain't going to be technicals. The only way that my trades are going to fail at that point, if we get above, if we bounce off of the white trend line support and we get above that yellow line, because think about it, we have to make a decision soon. This is why, because if we extend that yellow line into the white line, we only have this tiny apex, right? Where essentially we have a strong trend line support coming up and a strong trend line resistance coming down, just like what you get with the triangle formation on the charts. When you have an ascending triangle or a descending triangle or a symmetrical triangle, when you get into the apex, it's pretty much decision time. You know it's going to make a move soon with a high degree of confidence. So I'm pretty confident within the next two candles, we're probably going to see that decision get made. And if we get above that trend line support, I'm confident we're breaking out. At that point, the only way we fail, the only way I can imagine failing at that point, is if there's some catastrophic FUD or something like that. The last time I said that line, when I was really bullish, and I said the only way we fail is if there's some catastrophic FUD, no joke, the last time I said that was when we started this entire dump, when Elon posted about how Tesla is no longer accepting Bitcoin and he doesn't like it because it uses too much energy. So hopefully I'm not jinxing us here, but it is possible that can happen. There can always be FUD like that. I don't think that's happening again, so that's why I'm saying it. But that's the only way that fails. Once we get into that scenario, I'm so confident we're going to stay bullish. Virtually the only way we fail is if that were to occur. The other thing about this that I'm not a huge fan of is on the hourly chart here, we're hanging out right in the middle of the cloud. Once you break into the cloud like this, you almost always go across to the other side of the cloud, which would take us back down to 36K. Almost always. Every once in a while, just like with my Stoke model, it's wrong. Sometimes it just doesn't hold, and you get that anomaly where it actually does go right back up. But a substantial majority of the time, I would expect it to go down to 36K here. If it wasn't for this trend line here, I would definitely say that's happening. So again, if we break this white line, if we end up getting lower, now a quick tiny wick down doesn't count. I mean, like, we would either need to have a large wick or we would have to close within underneath that trend line support, the white line rather. If that were to happen, if we were to get down and close at like 37.6, 37.5, 37.4, if that were to happen, we would almost certainly continue down to 36K over the next 24 hours. So again, I feel like we're close enough to decision time here that I kind of want to just do some other work, get some work done that I have to do here, catch up on some stuff for the group, and maybe clean up my group's channels a bit, something like that. I don't know. I have a lot of work to do. If I can just kill 1.5 to 2 hours, I feel like we might get our decision. So you guys know what I'm looking for. That's where I'm going to leave it for now. Let's see if we get that decision. Hopefully it's the bullish side. To be honest, I haven't been shorting lately because when I'm really bullish, I have a bias and I'm confident we're going to go up. I try not to short because if I'm really confident and my model's that accurate lately where we've been bullish, shorting is kind of ridiculous because I have such a high level of confidence we're going up. Now that I'm kind of in the middle and I don't know which way it's going to go, I may actually enter a short too. So if we were to get below that trend line support, the white line, I might short Bitcoin and Ethereum, and because I would expect a ride down for quite a bit. Not too far, but quite a bit. Just to give you an idea percentage-wise, if that were to happen, if we were to end up breaking down to like 37.5, I would expect another 4% drop to 36 approximately. In that scenario, I would usually open just a normal short with no leverage, and then I would probably do a small trade. So if you're the kind of person who would put like $1,000 into a short like that, the way I would do it is I'd put like $1,000 into the short, and then I'd put $100 into another short. That's a 20x leverage short. That way, I'm only risking a tiny amount of capital, and it's a 20x trade, so I could potentially make a lot of money on it. And worst case scenario, I don't lose that much. But my bigger trade, which is going to be 10 to 20 times more than that, would just be a spot trade with no leverage. So I might end up shorting if that were to happen. I feel like either way, over the next couple hours, I'm going to get that decision, and then I'll be able to make a trade one way or the other. So we'll see. I'm watching it. We got a couple important levels here to focus on. Resistance and support coming together. So stay tuned for updates, I guess. Watch along with me.